When European settlers first arrived in New Zealand, they encountered wildlife unlike anything they'd ever seen. These unique island species thrived in dense rainforest without any native land mammal predators. But as the forests were cut down and new predators arrived, the birds began to disappear. Some have gone forever. But one bird that was on the very brink of extinction is making a comeback. That bird is the Hihi, a songbird found only in New Zealand's North Island. It's one of New Zealand's most colourful birds, yet few people in the country have ever seen one.
At the time of European contact or Europeans arriving in New Zealand, the hihi was actually a very common species. However, that changed very quickly. There was a lot of large-scale clearance of forest. There was a lot of exotic mammalian predators introduced into the country, and the hihi did not cope with that very well, and the populations crashed. And by 1890, we lost hihi from everywhere except a single small offshore island in the Hauraki Gulf, Hauturu, or Little Barrier Island.
Something had to be done to save the hihi. So, in the mid-1990s, an ambitious rescue plan was put together. The idea was to relocate some of the birds to other islands, such as Tiritiri Matangi. It's a nature reserve open to the public and just a short ferry ride from New Zealand's biggest city, Auckland. This island had already been cleared of predators and replanted with native forest.
We brought over 40 hihi, 20 males and 20 females, to establish the population here. It was a bit of a rough start. Within the first month of letting the birds go, the population had crashed down to 4 females and 12 males, and that was our founder pool for the population. So it was a very nervous time back then in the mid-90s, but the birds did very well. They bred successfully, and the population increased and is now capped at about 200 adult birds.
The hihi are cared for throughout their lives. They raise their young in specially designed nest boxes and are given a supplementary diet of sugar solution at feeding stations within the forest. Scientists from as far afield as the Zoological Society of London work with New Zealand's Department of Conservation to monitor the hihi year-round. Each of the 200 birds on the island must be banded and their DNA recorded.
So this is a male hihi or stitch bird, and we've just caught him. He's unbanded, and in this population we try and have every bird banded with an individual combination of colours so we know who they are, and that's really important for us to be able to track how the birds are surviving, who they're breeding with, how they're breeding, and how successful they are.
The chicks are given regular health checks from the time they hatch. Although there are no introduced predators on the island, the youngsters are still extremely vulnerable to other threats.
We've got to look after the babies once they're born, and that involves coming out every 2 days after they've hatched, and we're checking for parasites on the babies. And so if that happens, we typically will give them a treatment with a miticide, so it's frontline. It's the same chemical that you use on your cats to control fleas. That'll control the mites, get rid of them. Sometimes there's a lot, and you'll see them, they'll be on the chicks, they'll be crawling all over the nest box, and so then we have to actually replace the entire box.
Such has been the success of the Hihi project that birds are being resettled to protected wildlife reserves elsewhere in New Zealand. Then new birds are brought onto Tiritiri Matangi to strengthen the gene pool of the Hihi.
We generally bring individuals from Little Barrier Island, which is the natural population of Hihi. It was the only remaining population that was left. So we recreate a normal migration scenario, but we have to do it artificially.
The Hihi are cheerful participants in the breeding programme thanks to their remarkably active love life.
Hihi are some of the most promiscuous birds in the world. They are record breakers for promiscuity. Around 70% of all the chicks in the nest are from other males other than the social partner. And this is actually something fairly positive in the Hihi. So the female can avoid the impact of inbreeding by mating with multiple males.
The Hihi project couldn't have happened without the tireless work of volunteers and support from wildlife enthusiasts visiting the island. Their efforts have helped scientists gather information that may be useful in conservation projects further afield.
These days, Hihi have become almost a model system in conservation biology or small population management, and it's informing conservation projects globally on how to manage species which are critically endangered and require support in order to recover.
So Tiritiri Matangi's Hihi Recovery Project has not only helped to save one small bird from extinction, but has also become a blueprint for managing fragile ecosystems that can be used to save other endangered species all around the world.